In the history of French cinema, the New Wave, or otherwise known as the Tidal Wave, would have been a more appropriate name for this explosion of vibrant, innovative, and highly self-conscious films by young French directors in the late 1950s and early 1960s. The informal movement was spearheaded by a handful of critics from Cahiers du Cinéma, Jean-Luc Godard, François Truffaut, Éric Rohmer, Claude Charbot, and Jacques Rivette, whose incisive writings were matched by their films. Bold, modern takes on classical masters that reworked genres like noir and the musical, and experimented with techniques antiquated and discovered. While Godard's Breathless and Truffaut's The 400 Blows remain the twin groundbreaking events of the movement, films such as Alain Resnais's Hiroshima Mon Amour and Ambroise Fardot's Cleo from 5 to 7 were watersheds as well, finding excited audiences hungry for a new energetic political cinema opposed to the stuffy cinema of quality, as Truffaut put it, of the old guard. Though the movement quickly disputed, filmmakers like Godard, Rivette, Garda, and Rohmer continued to pioneer today. The French New Wave was a group of trailblazing directors who exploded onto the film scene in the late 1950s, revolutionizing cinematic conventions by marrying the rapid cuts of Hollywood with philosophical trends. With an emphasis on invigorating cinematic narrative, French New Wave cinema rejected traditional linear tropes of storytelling and created a new language of film. Inspired by both depictions of the common, lower-class workers of Italian neorealism and Hollywood's beloved Golden Age, the French New Wave became a vibrant influence on international cinema, which is still being felt today. Originating from the artistic philosophy of auteur theory, a concept that acknowledges film as a product of the director's absolute imaginative and inspired aesthetic vision, New Wave filmmakers inspired the cult of the director as artistic icon on a par with writers and painters. The philosophical importance of the French New Wave and their role in the development of a theory of film was in large part due to one of the movement's most influential and pivotal creators, André Bazin. Bazin, a theorist of cinema and renowned film critic, was the founding father of the French movie magazines Cahiers du Cinéma. And its initial publication in 1951 marked a crucial moment in the lives of many acclaimed French screenwriters and directors. In his belief in film as a highly intellectual art, Bazin was a meticulous academic of film who believed that cinema was far more than popular entertainment. Bazin's emphasis on the crucial role of a director, the artistic creator who implements his or her own aesthetic and narrative vision to the screen, was debated, integrated, and explored in various articles at Cahiers du Cinéma. A group of critics, many of whom published in the cinema journal Cahiers du Cinéma, proposed a new cinema that would break with the story-bound principles of past films and explore the potential to which one could play with film structure, and what effect that would have on the viewer. Perhaps more importantly, the movement's founders believed that each director was the archer of each film and that large studios could not lay claim to a film's identity. Among its primary practitioners were François Truffaut and Jean-Luc Godard, who made films which, with their jazzy, relentlessly improvisationary eloquence, immersed us. They also pioneered techniques and approaches that are now standard devices for imaginative filmmakers. One of the most important foundations of the French New Wave was an interest in and respect for realism. Few sets were constructed for these films, and most of them were made on location. This enabled the filmmakers to work with relatively small expenses. The famed left bank of the movement, whose practitioners included Alain Resnais, Ambroise Varda, and Chris Marker, took this idea even further, building some films almost entirely out of photographs and other factual research-based materials. For example, Chris Marker's La Jetée, which considered by some to be at least a progenitor of the video essay, is made solely out of a series of photographs. The French New Wave pioneers pushed the limits of the cinema technique, and Godard's special use of the jump cut, where time passes with each successive cut, the space between the cuts suggests a wealth of information. This technique has influenced directors for decades. The long take was also a favorite of the New Wavers, given that it could allow the viewer to immerse him or himself in a location, the mise en scène, or a character's face. Throughout this documentary, I've been playing clips that I have filmed on my iPhone 6 where I really tried to capture the essence of filming on location and using jump cuts to convey short journeys. I had a lot of fun trying to channel the creative minds of the New Wave directors, and I hope you enjoyed my short film about the iconic time of the French New Wave. Thanks for watching.